On the line with me, I'm pleased to have back on the program Scottie Nell Hughes, chief political correspondent with the USA Radio Network. Her website, Scottie, Scottie, Nell, Nell, Hughes, HUGHES.com. And the Twitter is Scottie N. Hughes. And Scottie, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you for having me. I love always coming on your program because I get such great conversations afterwards that follow it on social media. And sure, some people might be angry, but you would be surprised how many friends I have made on the other side and really enjoy getting to see their perspective. And I'll admit, sometimes it has kind of changed some of my viewpoints.
Wow. Well, thank you, Scottie. That's very kind of you. I've always enjoyed talking with you too. It's nice having a conservative who is rational and isn't going to scream obscenities at me. So let me play a clip of Donald Trump here because you're a Trump supporter, right?
I'm technically a Trump surrogate. I even got upgraded.
Wow.
Last time we talked.
Okay.
I know.
So the voice of God is speaking through you here. You have been anointed to speak on behalf of Mr. Trump. So let me play this clip and let's talk about it. Okay. Here's Donald Trump. This was maybe a month or so ago. Here he is.
When we do business with China, they tax us. You don't know it. They tax us. I have many friends that deal with China. They can't deal. Number one, they don't want the product. And when they finally get the product, it is taxed. We don't have to continue to lose $505 billion as a trade deficit for the privilege of dealing with China. I'm a free trader. I believe it. But we have to be smart. And we have to use smart people to negotiate. Hey, their whole trade thing is tariff. You can't deal in China without tariff. They do it to us. We don't do it. It's not fair.
There you go. So here's Donald Trump. He calling for a 35% tariff on goods imported from Mexico that used to be made here in the United States. That is a position that George Washington held. John Adams held, Thomas Jefferson held, James Madison held, James Monroe held. I could go through the list of presidents all the way up to Ronald Reagan. Every president held that position. And then, and in fact, tariffs were the sole source of income to the federal government up until the Civil War. 100% of the government, all the salaries of the senators, the president, everybody were all paid for by these tariffs, these import tariffs, which averaged around 30% from 1791 until 1980. They were 100% of the income for the federal government until the Civil War, 2/3 of the income of the federal government until World War II, and about 1/3 of the income of the federal government up until the Reagan administration. Now they're less than 1%, and as a result, our jobs are going overseas. I absolutely agree with Donald Trump on this. So my question to you, as a surrogate for Donald Trump. Why isn't he talking about this more? Why doesn't he make this, some very clear policy prescriptions on this? Because I think he's got a topic here that not only will win him enormously with Republicans, but also will pull in independents and Democrats.
You are absolutely correct, and he should be talking about those topics. Unfortunately, Tom, you know the way the media cycle reads right now, and if it bleeds, it leads, and that includes in politics. That is what is so wrong, and I think you're seeing a little bit on the Democrats, but you're definitely seeing it in the drama that's happening with this campaign season. These guys, they're keep being asked the same questions that are irrelevant to the people that are actually in everyday America and what we're facing. Now, I will tell you that Mr. Trump has come out. He is strong. In fact, I think he calls it idiotic, against this TPP deal. He was against the TPA deal, saying, what in the world are we doing? Why would you agree to this deal? And it's a deal that President Obama is pushing, but also some of these Republican zombie congressmen that we have elected who think that just under the umbrella of saying free trade, that they can get away with it, that they would not want to go against it, knowing that the TPP is anything but free trade. It goes exactly opposite. So Mr. Trump, when he gets the chance to talk about it, and if you look at the last debate that he was a part of, when he talked about the economy, when he talked about policies, when he talked about lowering the corporate lowering the corporate income tax rate here in the United States in order to keep businesses here, that resonated very well. But how quickly was the subject turned back to the drama and the cat scratching that we're seeing? Yeah. And that's that. I would love Mr. Trump to talk more, but he has to follow the host, just like I have to follow your questions. Unfortunately,
well, he doesn't have to. And you and I both know that. And in fact, politicians have honed the fine art of completely ignoring the question and giving the answer that they wanted to give.
No, you are right on that, and he does break in every once in a while. But when you're invited on, unfortunately, a lot of these people, he's also, they sit there. I'm one of those that don't like to blame the media crowd. That blame the media for everything, the scapegoats. It's all the media's fault. Things we're seeing right now between the Cruz and everything that happened in Iowa on the Republican side, it's the media's fault. It's CNN's fault. No. Sometimes these politicians are going to have to take responsibility for their own actions. Now, sure, media are at fault points, absolutely. But they really do carry the narrative. And Mr. Trump continues, every time he tries to push it, you get, these name calls that we've done and more of a drama problem. But when it comes down to it, Tom, he is definitely against the TPP. He considers it to absolutely deal. It does not deal with the number one problem that we have right now, and that's currency manipulation. And that's what the tool that all these other countries are using to beat us. Right. And he doesn't do that. It doesn't. There's no transparency.
And also the offshoring of jobs.
But that's it. There's not any jobs at all.
Yeah.
And the deal, and his thing is, why are we sitting here doing these blanket deals with a whole multinational group? Why don't we just negotiate one-on-one with each country?
Yep.
And then we figure out what's best on each country. You can't put them all together into one. And we already have deals with the majority of this. This is just a backdoor benefit to China, is all that the TPP is.
Yeah, and the other countries. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Scotty, thanks for calling up and agreeing with me. So much for our damn debate.
Give it another day. We'll come up and debate.
Yeah, well, okay, but still, I'm curious. My sense of Donald Trump's campaign is that if he continues to complain about Iowa. And I understand his outrage. Ted Cruz lied to people. Apparently, his out-of-state operatives, came into Iowa and came into a lot of these caucuses and said, Ben Carson has already dropped out of the race. Don't bother voting for him. Why don't you vote for Ted Cruz instead? And many people did. And that narrative, if that's first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that that's the narrative that Donald Trump is talking about. Is that right?
That's exactly, that is the narrative right there. And even after it was corrected, they continued to tell. That's where, even after CNN never reported that Ben Carson was dropping out. Never said those words. Just said he wasn't going on to New Hampshire and South Carolina, which is the truth.
Right.
Cruz campaign. But I agree. If he continues on to that, people are going to, we need to move on.
Yeah.
But what this is doing is it's showing he's going to call out that the BS stops. Now, I've always said this. We've always criticized each other's parties. I'm criticizing my own party right now. For far too long, we've let little things get away with it. And Mr. Trump's saying, you know what? The buck stops here. I'm not going to be over. If I am elected, I'm not going to be responsible for little shenanigans like this happening. They might be little fires, but eventually it turns into a forest fire that destroys. And he's stopping it right now.
So what's the best strategy for him? We just have a little less than a minute left, Scotty. We're talking with Scotty Nell Hughes. What's the best strategy for him? To just stop talking about this and move on to the next topic? Or to file a lawsuit and really try to nail this thing down and prove that he got screwed?
I think it's why you invited me on this show originally, Tom. It's to go back to the economy. It's to go back to the key issues that have made him number one while still trying to relate to the people. Yeah. And here's the thing. He's never been a politician before. He doesn't know the game. He doesn't know how it's played. The same reasons why we love Donald Trump, the same reasons why we hate Donald Trump. He doesn't know how to play the game. And so he's going to be human. He's going to make mistakes. I hope he's able to move on with this and that he's able to get back into focusing on what people really care about, which are the issues that we've talked about today.
I do, too. It's interesting because kind of the flip side of that is Hillary Clinton is also a very competent politician, and she knows how that game is played. And when her team, anyway, plays it in a way that makes me cringe against Bernie, the other part of me thinks, well, if she's the nominee, she'll do the same thing to the Republicans, which would be a good thing. So
exactly.
Scotty Nell Hughes, chief political correspondent with USA Radio Network, ScottyNellHughes.com, the website, Twitter @ScottyNHughes. Scotty, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Great having you. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.